Hello everyone. In this video, I will be discussing two important chapters from our English core textbook, which are A Triumph of Surgery and The Thief's Story. Both these chapters are interesting as well as thought-provoking. By the way, my name is Nasser Faruddin, Faculty of English, and I will be helping you cover the entire syllabus for your upcoming English examination. Actually, this is a series of videos. If you haven't watched the first few videos, do check the video section and consider subscribing the channel for the upcoming videos. So let's begin without wasting any time. The first chapter is A Triumph of Surgery. James Herriot, written by James Herriot. James Herriot is an English veterinary surgeon, right? Triumph means victory. Triumph means victory, a victory of surgery. Let's read about James Herriot, the author. He was a British veterinary surgeon and writer known for his warm, humorous and realistic stories based on his life as a countryside vet or veterinary surgeon. So most of his stories, the theme of most of his stories is from his professional life as a veterinary surgeon. His works blend compassion, gentle humor and deep understanding of animals and the owners. This is particularly true to this story and the setting of the story. The story is set in the English countryside, especially around Mrs. Pumphrey's home. Mrs. Pumphrey is the name of a very rich dog owner, and Mrs. Pumphrey's home, a luxurious household, and Mr. Herriot's veterinary surgery, where Tricky is the name of the dog, stays for treatment. The time period is early mid-20th century. Okay, so this is about the setting of the story, and now let's understand about the important characters of the story. The first one is Mrs. Pumphrey. Mrs. Pumphrey, he's the narrator and a veterinary. I'm sorry, not Mrs. Pumphrey. My mistake. It's not Mrs. Pumphrey. It is Mr. Herriot. Okay, it's a mistake. There's a mistake there. Mrs. Pumphrey. Mr. Herriot. Okay, so Mr. Herriot is the narrator. He's the narrator of the story. The writer himself is the narrator of the story and a veterinary doctor. He's sensible. He's a very sensible person. He's a practical person, calm and kind-hearted. He understands animals well and handles overly caring owners like Mrs. Pumphrey, overly caring owners in a polite and careful way, in a diplomatic way, I would say. And we have Mrs. Pumphrey, a rich and emotional lady who loves too much his dog. She's Tricky's owner. Okay, Tricky is the name of her pet dog. She spoils a dog. She spoils Tricky by giving him too much food and comfort. And we have obviously Tricky. Who is Tricky? A small pampered dog. He is greedy, overweight, weak and not active. He becomes fully healthy again after simple exercise and controlled diet. I mean, it's a very simple story. And other dogs at the surgery. Joy, the greyhound, is the name of a breed, and several other dogs are present in the story. They help Tricky regain normal behavior by playing, running and competing for food. So these are the important characters of the story. Now let's read the synopsis of the story. Let's begin with an introduction. The story begins when Mr. Herriot, a veterinary doctor, sees Tricky, a dog looking very sick. Tricky is extremely fat, tired and unable to walk properly. So he was in a pathetic situation. Herriot knows at once, immediately he understood that Tricky is in danger. But Mrs. Pumphrey's overfeeding. Mrs. Pumphrey, Tricky's rich and loving owner, explains that Tricky became weak and dull. To make him stronger, she gave him many extra foods, malt, cod liver oil and Horlicks. She also gave him cream cakes and chocolates because she could not refuse him. Tricky could not refuse him. Herriot realizes that Tricky is sick because he eats too much. Okay, that was a reason behind Tricky's sickness, because he eats too much and no proper exercise as well. Herriot asks about Tricky's exercise. Mrs. Pumphrey says he goes for only small walks and cannot play ring throwing because the gardener is unwell. Herriot warns that Tricky will fall seriously ill if she does not reduce his food and give him more exercise. Okay, and Tricky becomes very sick. A few days later, as expected by Dr. Harriet, Mrs. Pumphrey calls Harriet in panic, in tension. Tricky has stopped eating, vomits often, lies on a rug all day, a type of cloth, and pants. He's panting heavily. He shows no energy. He's extremely tired. Harriet understands that the situation is serious and something must be done immediately. But what happens? Tricky is taken to the surgery, the hospital. I'm sorry. Harriet tells Mrs. Pumphrey that Tricky must be kept at the surgery for 2 weeks. She becomes extremely upset and fears he may die without her. Still, Harriet takes Tricky away. The servants load many unnecessary things like beds, cushions, cots, toys, and bowls for Tricky to the hospital. Harriet drives away with only Tricky wrapped in a blanket. And what happens? First days at the surgery, at the hospital. At the surgery, Tricky lies quietly and is ignored by all the other dogs because Tricky is over pampered. Harriet does not give him food for 2 days. He purposefully didn't give it food. Only water, but gave water. Slowly, Tricky becomes more alert and begins to look around because he's no longer taken care of by people, or he's no longer over pampered by people. On the 3rd day, he wants to join the other dogs outside. No, for food. Joining the other dogs. When Harriet lets him out, the other dogs surround Tricky, smell him, and include him in their clan, in their group. Tricky begins to follow them around the garden. He moves slowly because of his fat body, but he improves with passing day. As days passes, he improves. And fast recovery. At feeding time, Tricky first watches the dogs rush to their bowls. Soon, he starts licking the empty bowls. The next day, he gets his own bowl and fights for his food like the others. He became energetic. After this, his recovery becomes very fast. He runs, plays, rolls in the grass, and he even hunts rats at night. Without any medicine, he becomes healthy just through exercise and proper eating. So that's how the story ends. And Mr. Pumphrey's constant phone calls. Mrs. Pumphrey calls many times every day to ask about Tricky's comfort. She asks about his cots, cushions, and routine. Harriet tells her only that Tricky is recovering quickly. Hearing the word recovering, Mrs. Pumphrey starts sending fresh eggs, bottles of wine, and even brandy to build Tricky's strength. Harriet and his staff enjoy this gift, but they didn't give it to Tricky. And Tricky becomes strong again. After 2 weeks, Tricky becomes a fit, active, and happy dog. Harriet feels tempted to keep him because they are enjoying the treats Mrs. Pumphrey sends. But he knows she misses Tricky too much, so he calls her to take him home. And Tricky meets his mistress. Mrs. Pumphrey, mistress means the gender opposite of master, the owner. Mrs. Pumphrey arrives in a big car, worried and shaking. Harriet brings Tricky from the garden where he is running with the other dogs. The moment Tricky sees her, he jumps onto her lap and licks her face happily. The cheerful takes back all the items they had brought earlier. The chauffeur takes back all the items they had brought earlier. A triumph of surgery. As the car drives away, Mrs. Pumphrey leans out of the window and with tears in her eyes says, "What did she say? What does she say? Oh, Mr. Harriet, how can I ever thank you? This is a triumph of surgery." So she thought it was the victory of a surgery. It was an after effect of a surgery. The funny part is that no surgery was done at all. Tricky was cured simply by a strict diet, exercise, and love. Okay? So, then, moving on. Themes of the story. Love and over-intelligence, and common sense and practical wisdom, humor and human folly. These are the major themes of the story. I have prepared a short paragraph based on all these themes. Do read. And moving on with your permission to the next chapter, which is the thief's story. The thief's story. Okay, right. Author. Who is the author of the story? Ruskin Bond. He's a very popular Indian English writer. Ruskin Bond is a celebrated Indian author known for his simple, heartwarming stories, often set in a small town hills of India. He lives in Missouri. He writes mainly for children and young adults, but his stories appeal to all ages. His writing often focuses on human emotions, relationships, and the beauty of everyday life. And now we'll discuss. That's all about the author. Now we'll discuss about the setting of the story. What is the setting of the story? The story is set in a small Indian town, and key locations include Anil's house and the bazaar and the railway station where the thief wanders after stealing, and the Maidan and clock tower where the thief contemplates actions during the night. And the setting is simple, realistic. Okay, we have a very simple, realistic and reflecting ordinary life in an Indian town. So we have two important characters. The one is Anil and the other one I'll discuss later. And these are the two important setting of the story. Anil's house, a modest home above the Jamna sweet shop, and the bazaar and the railway station. Okay. So we have two important characters in the story. The first one is thief, and the name of the thief is Hari Singh. A 15-year-old home. He's a 15-year-old. Okay. Just as your age. A 15-year-old boy, clever, experienced, and skilled in theft. Use lies to protect himself and steal from others. Observant, reflective. He's thinking. He thinks about things very deeply and capable of change. And we have Anil, about 25 years old, tall, lean, and kind and trusting. Works in writing and lending or borrowing money, lives simply. He is patient, generous, and morally upright. Okay? And moving on to the synopsis of the story. Meeting Anil. The story begins with the young thief meeting Anil while he is watching a wrestling match. So here, the young thief Hari Singh is meeting, Anil while Anil was engaged watching in a wrestling match. The thief, 15 years old, is already an experienced criminal and immediately plans to exploit Anil's trust. So he's building a trust with Anil, a trust in Anil, but he decided to exploit Anil's trust. He flatters Anil, introduces himself under a false name, and tries to win his confidence, win his trust. So this is how the thief Hari Singh meets Anil. And working for Anil. The thief asked to work for Anil. The Hari Singh asked to work for Anil, and even without paying, even without any remuneration, hoping to gain access to his home. That was his intention. He wanted access to Anil's home. Anil allows him to stay, initially teaching him to cook and later to write and handle numbers. The thief notices how trusting and kind Anil is, giving him a key and freedom around the house. Okay, and temptation and theft. Despite working honestly for a month, okay, right here, the thief is working, Hari Singh is working at Anil's house for a month, honestly, because he is attracted by his, and the kind of trust Anil is giving to him. But the thief is tempted to steal money. He observes Anil's tucking away cash under the mattresses, and decided to take it. He sneaks the 600 rupee notes at night, plans to catch a train, but hesitates and misses his chance to escape. So he gets caught. Reflection on the theft. Sitting in the train outside, the thief reflects on his life. He realizes that stealing is easy, but gaining true knowledge, literacy, and respect is far more valuable and difficult. He feels guilty and thinks about returning to Anil to learn to read and write. So it's a transformation is happening in the thief's heart. Returning the money. The thief sneaks back to Anil's room and carefully replaces the stolen money notes while Anil sleeps. In the morning, Anil treats him kindly, giving him part of the money to start his earnings and continues teaching him to write. The thief realizes Anil knows about the theft but responds with understanding, not anger. Okay, so it's such a beautiful gesture from the part of Anil. Conclusion of the story. It's a simple story. The story ends on a note of moral growth. The thief's respect for Anil increases and he recognizes that honesty, trust and learning are more valuable than money. The story highlights human kindness and the possibility of a change, a transformation. Okay? And we have important themes in the story, which is trust and honesty, redemption and change, value of knowledge, human kindness and consequence of greed and contentment. Contentment means you're content with, satisfied with whatever you have. Okay, so these are the major themes of the story. Do read it, and you can scan this QR code to avail handwritten notes. It's absolutely free. Do join us. Do join the WhatsApp community, and you can check the description box for a chapter test. I have prepared an MCQ test based on the 2 chapters we have learned this in this video. So there is this chapter test, and do attempt the test. And thank you everybody for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, this is Nasir Faruddin signing off. Bye.